This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us this morning. I wonder your initial thoughts. Heard a recruiting comment there in our open. How's the landscape changed for Arkansas with the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners joining the league?
Well, you're talking about two iconic programs. I think they're still the fifth and sixth winningest programs in the history of college football. It just makes the SEC, which is the toughest league in college football, in my humble opinion, just makes it tougher year in and year out. I mean, because these, OU's still trying to kind of regroup a little bit. Texas is, since the last time they came to Fayetteville and got their brains beat out, they've gotten quite a bit better and had a good year last year. Sarkisian's a capable guy. I coached with him years ago with the Oakland Raiders. He was a young guy, and I thought really he's a bright young man and all. And Venables over here to OU, they'll get good players, and how good they'll be this next year. They were kind of up and down a year ago, but still won 10 ball games. Now they lose to Oklahoma State, which is not a good thing for them and all that. But it'll make a hard league actually harder, I think.
Coach, you mentioned Texas and Oklahoma there. I wonder from the calls, texts, just the feel that you've gotten, not just this past week, but leading up to last Monday, who do you think is more confident in themselves? Texas fans, Oklahoma fans, or SEC fans that they're in a rude awakening as of this upcoming season?
Oh, I would imagine. Of course, Texas classically is going to feel pretty good about themselves anyway, but, they're coming off a big season. And, like I say, they beat Alabama a year ago and all this, beat Oklahoma State in the playoffs and lose a game to Washington in the Sugar Bowl. But I would imagine the Texas crew feels pretty good about themselves. OU, and generally doesn't quite know what to think about it because it was a peculiar year for them last year. They were 10-3. Again, you beat Texas, but you lose to Oklahoma State, you lose to Kansas, you lose to Arizona in the bowl game. So I'm not sure they really quite know what to expect out of this crew. Although OU, I think they're rebuilding here a little bit, but they're going to have good players.
Hey, Coach, great to hear from you. When you think about the recruiting dynamics in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, kind of this regional footprint, how do you see things changing with Texas and OU? We've seen Oklahoma come over and get a commitment from the best player in Arkansas. A&M and Texas now going head-to-head. Oklahoma State behind in the Big 12, and now OU and the SEC. How do you see all of these dynamics with these, 3, 4, 5 schools that are going after players in the same kind of 3-state area?
Well, it's really always been that way. OU got a commitment out of the kid from Parkview, right, to safety?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not big into commitments until they actually sign. You know how that is. but that's Keith Jackson's school. This didn't just start up now. I can remember Texas got, Graylin Wyatt 100 years ago down there, the run back from Texarkana. They dabbled around up here all off and on. Now, they'll be up here a little bit more, I would imagine. But I don't know wholesale. How many kids are going to be in Arkansas can really play every year? 5 or 6?
Yeah, runs in cycles.
Yeah, I know. But you're not dealing with a whole lot of population density.
Yeah.
With what's going on in Northwest Arkansas, that's changed a little bit. Hall High doesn't even have they even have a football team now?
I believe they still do, but
you're not sure. But Central Parkview's carrying on here a little bit, but the demise of Little Rock Public Schools doesn't help the University of Arkansas as far as recruiting.
Right.
Was used to back in the day. You could figure there are going to be 4 or 5 kids out of Greater Little Rock that are in varying degrees pretty good football players every year. I don't know what that is now.
So, Coach, if you're in Sam's shoes, and you mentioned the population, you mentioned Little Rock not necessarily sustaining the talent that it once did, how would you go about recruiting? Arkansas seems to be at a deficit in NIL. Like, if you're in year 5, what would you do in his shoes in today's
Go
climate?
to East Texas and Dallas and sign every kid that can play. And Houston. They come. Arkansas comes over here. Tulsa's not very far away. They'll get a kid or 2 out of here. Memphis, Dallas, the states around here, maybe Oklahoma City a little bit. I think East Texas and Dallas are the two areas where I think Arkansas's got to make their hay most every year.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about that Arkansas-Oklahoma State game. I think it's the most important game of the year maybe for Arkansas. It's tone setter. How do you see this game that's week 2 for Arkansas, game 2 for Arkansas? It seems paramount for Sam Pittman.
Well, I don't like saying this because I think the world of Sam. I think he's an excellent fit over there. It looks like they're moving their feet pretty good in recruiting, but for what? Yeah, I think so. That'll be interesting. Usually I go over there and watch Arkansas practice either in the spring or in the preseason, but given the fact that they're playing in Stillwater, and my relationship with Mike and those guys, I don't want, Sam wouldn't care, but I don't want his people feeling uncomfortable with me hanging around watching practice. So I haven't really seen them in just a little bit, but I've seen Oklahoma State. They've got an awful lot of kids that can run. They've got excellent team speed and quickness. He's got about everybody back. They got all their offensive linemen back. Now they're not high-round draft choice guys, but they're tough veteran kids. Ollie Gordon, the back, led the country in rushing. Now if he can act right here a little bit, that helps somewhat. But he's a good back. Alan Bowman, the quarterback, they bounced around early in the season trying to find a quarterback, settled on Bowman. He's transferred 2 or 3 times, but he's an older kid. Their outside skill is pretty good with the receiver core and everything else. It'll be interesting to see where Oklahoma State is defensively, because they had brought in Mike Gundy had hired a new coordinator a year ago from a small college, wanted to major in the 3-4 stuff. Now their best player defensively is a kid named Colin Oliver, who's an edge rusher guy, and he can disrupt an offense pretty good. So, and depending on if they move him up, that makes him a 4-man front, if that makes sense. So I'm real curious to see kind of what direction they go, because this kid Oliver, he can really be disruptive if you cut him loose. Now, if he's a drop guy, he's just another zone player. But again, they got a linebacker named Nick Martin who makes a bunch of plays, so they'll be pretty good offensively. How good defensively they are remains to be seen. But Colin Oliver, remember that name. That's the kid to watch and see what they do with him early on.
Kind of sounds like a Harold Perkins situation, Tommy.
Yeah. So, Coach, you do a radio show every day, just like we do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How is the world changing for you now with the SEC and the Big 12 still to cover? How are y'all spending your time on the air, and what interests you now as you look out your window?
Well, I don't like what's become of intercollegiate athletics. I don't think it's in a very good place overall. The NIL, I'm not saying they shouldn't get some money, but there's no rules in that. It's just a free fire zone. And the transfer, the portal is I still think they ought to make them set a year. You can still transfer, but you got to set out a year. This deal of 200 or 300 kids transferring is nuts. You look at somebody's roster, they got 20 new kids on the roster. And the excuse is that coaches can leave, but players can't. That's bogus. Every contract a coach signs has a penalty clause in it. Yeah, you can leave, but you got to pay. Same way with players. But the way our lack of leadership or the way this portal has been handled, I think it's got intercollegiate athletics all screwed up.
Coach, is Nick Saban the only one that can resolve this, or in the conversations you've had with individuals that over the years with different coaches or different power brokers? Who's the guy that could maybe change things for the better?
Well, I think a guy like Saban's obviously got a ton of credibility. Our man Tommy Tuberville, and he's a little bit different politically, but I will say this: he does know what he's talking about with this kind of stuff, and he's up there. Of course, I knew Tommy when he was running Tubby's Catfish Kitchen over there in Eastern Arkansas years ago too. But I think politically, you don't want the feds to be involved in everything, but I think it's going to be a matter of the feds getting involved and somebody taking hold leadership-wise, which has been a terrible lack of. So where that's going, who knows? But Saban, Tuberville, some of these guys that actually know what they're talking about, and then get some of the state people, federal people involved in it. I don't know what else you're going to do.
Coach, you referenced maybe the uneasiest not right now for Sam, and I think it's pretty consensus that if they don't have a good season, there could be a chance. It's not 100%, but I wonder from all your years of coaching, what advice you'd give him heading into a pivotal year for his future.
Well, I mean, Sam's been around. He's seen a lot of things come and go. I think that, bringing Petrino back over there was an interesting. Guy's a hell of a good offensive football coach now. Don't think he's not. I mean, he can kind of drift off in certain ways at times, but the guy's an awfully good offensive football coach, and we'll see what will happen there. But I think when you're in kind of make or break year like Sam apparently is now, just put your head down and bore. Don't let don't let that eat you up. Just put your head down and go, and see what happens. That's the only choice, and he'll have to probably answer some of those questions. When's the SEC media? Next week?
Next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, he'll have to answer some of that. By the way, the Big 12 thing starts up today out in Las Vegas. But anyway, I would think with Sam just to, put your head down and bore. And that's Sam's an offensive line coach by trade. That's kind of, they're grinders. Just grind. Just grind it out and see what will happen.
Coach,
There's so many things you can't control. Kid gets hurt. You turn the ball over at the wrong time. Some kind of thing like that. You can't control that. But you just still put your head down and grind.
Coach, you're not in Vegas right now? You're not on the sides?
No. I'm not. No, they don't need me out there. I've done plenty enough of those things over the years. And anyway, so no, I'm right here in Tulsa.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you one question here, and we'll let you go.
Okay.
The Big 12 seemed like it was on its deathbed, and then their leadership kind of saved the league, put some teams together. The media deals are what they are with the Big 10 and the SEC. What do you think is the next 3-5 years for the Big 12?
Well, I think the interesting thing about it. It's a very balanced league to me. The addition, the two Arizona schools, Colorado. Who knows what's going on out there? And you get involved with that group, and you bring them in and everything, and it'll they're all recruiting about the same kid. Earl Campbell or Ricky Williams probably is not going to end up at one of these schools, but that doesn't mean you can't have good football players. But again, they're all recruiting about the same level of kid, so you ought to have very, very good races every year. Again, you got Utah coming in here; they've got a ton of credibility. And with Whittingham, and all, but they're not iconic. So, Big Bubba and his friend left town. But the rest of them that are here, including the new additions, are all about the same level of people as far as stadium size, everything that's involved in what's going on. So it ought to make really, really interesting races. And I think it's a good coaches league. But it should, and the 12 or expanded playoff. Somebody getting in this thing, in all honesty, like we're talking about Oklahoma State, their path to the playoff probably got easier because OU and Texas are gone. So, you could say that about several other people up and down this league. You get a couple of them in there and get in the playoff, and all of a sudden, who knows? One of them might win it all. So I think this league is not the Big Ten, it's not the SEC, but I think solid is the word that always jumps into my mind when I look at all these schools in the Big 12. I think it's a very, very solid league from top to bottom.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.